Good morning, good morning, good morning, or to our friends in the UK, good evening. I hope you guys are having a beautiful finish to your day. To all our friends in the US and Canada, get a middle of the day. If you're joining us, guys, we're going to be kicking off this podcast in 2 minutes and we are ready to rock and roll. So, what is going on, team? Coming off the back of a very enjoyable call with my crew from the UK. Guys, I fucking love you guys. I really, really do. Every week we get on a call, you guys show up, we challenge each other, you are supportive of each other, we're inclusive, and I absolutely love it. So to our crew in the UK, I just want to let you guys know that specifically I appreciate you guys and love you guys. All right, team, we're going to get this started in 2 minutes. And what is going on, guys? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Coming to you from the parents' house in Yamina, shortly before flying back to Canada later on tonight. Hopefully soak up a decent morning if we can. So good morning, Tezzy. How are you, legend? Lovely to have your company in here. I love how you guys have got used to putting your names. I don't know why Toddy's still able to display his name. I will tell you something. One of the things that Facebook is doing, which absolutely sucks balls, is on the 22nd of April, they're actually cancelling our ability to being able to stream live into groups using Restream, using the service that we currently use. So we're going to need to come up with a workaround to be able to do that, whether it's directing to personal profile or hopefully Facebook comes up with an alternative option that's native to them. Nonetheless, guys, love that you're showing up in here. We're going to start this in 1 minute. Good morning, Nicky boy. How are you, legend? Loz is here. Good morning, Lozzie. Esther, how are you, chickadee? Esther, I've been loving your morning sunrises and getting stuck into it. So good. Hey, Stewie, what's going on, mate? Lovely to have your company here. Hey, Cara. Guys, we're starting in 30 seconds. Morning, Jace. Troy here. How are you, Troy? Hello, Renee. Hey, Cara. What's going on, guys? All right. Good morning. Kate here. Kate's probably in the gym, busting out. By the way, Kate, if that's Kate Astley, don't forget that I've got a merch to trade over with you as well. All right, guys. I think we are ready to rock and roll. Let's get into the count of this on 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets, unsustainable workout programs. Now, today's episode is going to be a little bit different, okay? It's probably because I'm in a little bit of a reflective mood, I guess, as our trip comes to an end, to come back home and visit friends, family, and clients. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has made this trip just like really awesome for us. We've achieved a lot in this trip, from the women's retreat, which was fucking awesome. Like very different to the men's retreat, like extremely different. Face masks, singing and TikTok dances. It was weird. But anyway, the girls loved it and we appreciate the hell out of you guys. To our mastermind dinner last weekend with around 12 to 13 of the guys. We then had a bunch of client meetups in between, and even just going and getting a coffee with a few of you has just been really, really special. So thank you so much. And I must admit, sometimes I feel like a little bit of an imposter in the process, but I feel such love when I come back to Oz and specifically to the peninsula down here. And I just want to thank you guys so freaking much. I've kind of concluded that connection is the lubricant for personal progress. Connection is the lubricant for personal progress. Can you progress without connection? Yeah, you can, but I tell you what, it's a hell of a lot harder. It's a hell of a lot harder to do things on your own. When you leverage the power of other people that are on a similar journey to you, For me, this is the closest thing to cheating. I'm going to say that again. When you leverage the power of a community, be it in person or online, it doesn't matter. It's the closest thing to cheating. And this is why people that try to do it on their own are always struggling. And that's the segue into the topic, which is a little bit different, that I want to discuss today. This is a little bit inspired as well by, I'm a subscriber to Arnold Schwarzenegger's newsletter. I don't know how many of you guys are on this, but the world rankings of the happiest countries for 2024 came out through the week. And once again, Finland was at the top. What was interesting, just looking at the numbers, is the US fell from the 15th happiest country down to the 23rd. For reference, the UK is the 20th happiest country in the world. Australia placed number 10 and New Zealand number 11. So pretty good. But the number for under 30 years old in Australia in terms of happiness went from 10th to 19th. So it's easy to conclude that that could be because of the cost of living and interest rates, etc. But remember those things, those factors that are definitely impacting on our quality of life, that's just not our country that's being affected. It's happening on a global scale. So what is actually going on here? Like, what is actually going on? Why is there a decline in happiness? You can probably see where I'm going to go with this podcast. Arnold suggested in his newsletter that there is a lack of two things. By the way, if you've got an opinion on this, guys, I would love to hear what you think it is. Like, why do you think there's a decline in happiness? Arnold suggested it's a lack of two things. Real purpose and vision in a person's life, so actually feeling like they're doing something that makes a difference. And the second thing is real connection, be it in person or virtually, actually being present with people that you feel connected with. He cited that when he went to restaurants 15 years ago, and for those of you that are kind of like my vintage and beyond, you can remember this. You walked into a restaurant and they were loud. Every table was like buzzing with conversation and noise, and people were connecting and sharing and laughing. And now it's kind of weird. Arnold put it almost like a zombie apocalypse, right? You go into restaurants and often it's quiet and people are just kind of like looking at their phones instead of engaging with the people that they're actually having dinner with, they're having lunch with. And it's fucking weird to me. I totally resonate with what he said. I don't think there's any issue with taking a few food pics for Instagram, but how many of us are actually present in the company of others these days? Like, present, as in we're often there, but we're not really there. And the only thing that's really changed is the fact that these devices that distract us are there all the time. And if these devices are used the wrong way, they cause disconnection and unhappiness. And when people aren't happy, it leads to a decline in their mental and physical health. Think about it. When you're not in the best headspace, when you feel like you're having one of those periods of time where you feel stuck, what do? What do you actually do? It starts for most of us by going inward. We try to deal with the shit ourselves. We think it's courageous to just not talk about it. So we sit in our house on our machines, scrolling aimlessly for some level of stimulation, which disconnects us further and gets us deeper into a hole. But by consequence of doing that, we move less, so we become weaker and fatter. We eat more because Food is a reliable source of emotional pump, right? It makes us feel good. It's pleasurable. And we're not eating chicken and broccoli, right? And we see less sunlight, which fucks with our hormones and circadian rhythms. It's a really challenging paradigm that a lot of people live in. The irony is that I'm coming to you via a device. But in this moment, I'd get you to ask yourself the question, how do you use your devices? Is it proactively, as in you choose the stuff you consume, or do you just get sucked into this void of fucking negativity? Our devices are not only killing our health, but they're killing our creativity and our vision. People are so stressed out and distracted that they have no time to just sit by themselves and ask themselves, what do I want my life to look like? What is my actual vision? So what we do is the moment we have a moment of boredom, we pull out our phone as an escape from reality like work. But the problem is we're escaping from the only place that we can actually live. So we get more and more confused. We wake up in the morning and every day feels like the last. We live for the weekend so we can booze away life. And this whole thing becomes this big fucking self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, why the hell are we talking about this on a Get in Shape podcast? I'll tell you why. Because being at home for me in Australia has made me realize again, and it happens every time I come back here, the importance of connection. Over the last 8 months, we've run 2 retreats, a man and a women's retreat. They were both very different, but with a huge commonality. Off the back of that retreat, the people that attended had a massive surge in energy. And it stems directly from them feeling connected. If there's 20 people listening here live, looks like about half of them were at the retreat. And my bet is that you felt a real surge of energy off that. Let me know in the comments if that's you. You felt a real surge of energy off the back of that retreat. Because we feel reinvigorated by good conversation, great food, exercise, and great company. It's like we have this reminder that mankind is actually really fucking great. And it returns to us when we feel connected. When we connect with another person or people, we put out to the world and it comes back. When we're feeling connected and engrossed in our life, it improves our self-belief. It improves our confidence. It improves our overall self-esteem because we stop fucking worrying about these people that we don't actually care about their opinion. And we actually just get involved in life. We break down barriers like going to the gym because we can see that everyone's intimidated about going to the gym. So if everyone's scared of the same thing and they're all scared about being judged, about being bad at the same thing, then it actually doesn't fucking matter and we can just go and do it together. When you are connected to people, you are reminded of the fact that you are part of something that's so much bigger than yourself. But when you're sitting inside your house, it's easy to feel small and insignificant and uninvolved in anything bigger than yourself and your family. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt really connected and really unhappy at the same time? Really connected and really unhappy at the same time? Never. That never happens. So why is it that we tend to disappear into these holes when we're not doing too well? When we feel like we're struggling, rather than raising our hand and saying, man, I need some help here. Instead, we turn inwards and start to disappear. When we know that unhappiness goes hand in hand with disconnection, why don't we think to ourselves, hey, I need to connect if I want to save myself? Is it that we're embarrassed? Is it that we're ashamed? We feel guilty and we don't want to be judged by others? Why do we disconnect from the process? And for the record, I think there is a very, very, very big difference between proactively asking for help and guidance and staying in victimhood and constantly blurbing out this victim story, which becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. There's a very big difference. One, you're trying to put your hand up and say, hey dude, like, guys, what do you think of this? I'm struggling with this thing. How do I conquer this? Can someone give me a hand? Can someone come and meet me for a coffee? Versus, my life is shit, and staying in that victim story. When I sat around the table, so on the weekend, after we did a stomp, we had a coffee and a gym session. Quite a few of you guys hung back and kind of had some lunch with us. And man, it was so quality, the people that were sitting at that table. I'm not going to start naming them because I don't want to go through this huge list and miss anyone. But when I was sitting around that table with those people, and you know who you are, we got talking about why Better Body Academy works. Why does it work? And it's hard to put a finger on it, right? It's kind of really hard for someone that is outside of our so-called cult to understand it until they're part of it. Well, I can tell you, it's two things that work. Number one, this whole fitness get in shape thing has been hijacked by people trying to sell dumb supplements, exercise regimes that don't work, quick fix diets, when actually it's simple. We've lost touch with how fucking simple it is. Not easy, simple. If you simplify everything about your transformation journey, it will become so much more doable. When you come into this program, you're not paying for 17,000 different things. You're trying to narrow it down so that you can just follow a simple plan, which is the second part to why this works, is the community, connection, and accountability piece. Most people don't think they need that. They think that, you know what, I can just do this on my own. But you can't do it on your own. This is why I still pay an exorbitant amount of money to a coach to keep me accountable, to have my own community of not just you guys, but a separate community of people who are my people, personal trainers and coaches that are talking the language that I am. When I look at all of the people that have come through our academy, I can tell you that it is nearly always the most connected people that are the most successful. Like straight facts. Is always the people who are the most connected that are the most successful, and they are connecting through choice, not through accident. And when I look at my life, my personal life, and I see in my extended friends group, the people that are most successful in life are also the most connected people. Because through connection, you get more connection, you get more opportunities. It's the people that make the effort to connect, to network, and most importantly, to help, that are the most happy and successful. And that's because when you connect, check this out, when you connect, you leverage the intelligence, the energy, the problem-solving capacity, and the accountability of other humans. Think about this right here, right? There'll be 1,000 people that'll listen to this podcast, and let's say we've got 140 women in our program and 150, 170 men in our program. If you leverage these people, That's like centuries of life experience. Wouldn't it make sense that you leverage all of this life experience rather than trying to figure the fuck out on yourself? It doesn't make any sense at all. It's not only does it make the entire journey that you're on more enjoyable, it helps you to stay on track. Because let's face it, we've all done 1,000,001 weight loss programs. They work for the short term, and then the weight comes back on. So what is the factor here? The factor is the constant accountability and community that you have. What pains me the most is that it's the people that are not here in our group, that are not listening to this episode, that are the people that are struggling, that are the people that most needed to come to the retreat, that are the people that most needed to see the power of what happens when you put 50 people together. It's people that are trapped in the mindset that they should just solve their own problems. You should solve your own problems. The problem is when you try to solve your own problems, but you don't have the tools to solve your own problems, you end up just getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And then what happens is you quit because you're embarrassed. Does everyone know that feeling? It's almost like rather than having my coaches checking in on me every week to see how I'm going, what I will do is just quit instead so I don't have that constancy of people seeing if I'm all right. Isn't that fucking backwards when you think about it? But that's what happens because we dig ourselves deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper till we get to this point where we're just so stuck that we're like, oh, I don't want to be accountable anymore. I don't want to have this messiness in my life. I just want to be here in this hole. I personally believe in this so much that since I got into my first coaching program in 2019, I have not left group coaching because I've come to understand that the skills that you accumulate are one thing, but it's the community, it's the power of accountability that is everything. I've learned enough to do much of this on my own, but if I leave that connection. To you, this might just be another kind of podcast that you skim listen to and go, yeah, okay, cool. But for me, it's a reflective, short episode that caps off what's been just a wonderful trip back to the Oz where I've got to hug so many of you and talk and have great conversations. And it's really funny because there's a transition here. In the coaching world, you're told that what you should do is you should put distance in between yourself and your clients because you take on that emotional toll. And I think there is truth to that. But I can't fucking help myself. I can't help myself because when I'm sitting there next to Jules Crosby or having a coffee with Nick Friend and they're telling me about their challenges, and there are two people here that are in complete fucking resonance and in each other's zone of like indescribable connection, that is life. And if I'm making a mistake as a coach to not separate that, well, I'll cop the mistake. When I'm sitting there with 12 of my boys, including a couple of my coaches, and some of our OGs like Trent and Terry and Jim, and we're at a mastermind dinner and we're just enjoying some food. Even though I can't fucking talk to half of them because they're up the other end of the table and I can't hear. It's just the presence that makes all the difference. And I really do think the message that I want to give here is that when you feel that struggle kicking in, and it will, because the tough times are not separate to the good times. When you feel that struggle kicking in, you got to avoid the temptation to just disconnect and go off life. I get that sometimes you need a social media detox, totally get that. But don't detox or don't disconnect totally, because then you just become this island that starts to float away until someone comes and rescues you, or you decide, you know what, I better do something to get myself back on track. And then you live in this polarity of like, I'm on course, I'm off course, I'm on course, I'm off course. That's not how it's meant to be. It's like, I'm on course, but sometimes I'm messy and shit, and that's okay. That's okay, because I'm still here and I'm still accountable. So to wind out this episode, guys, I just want to say again how grateful I am. I sincerely mean this. I'm so freaking thankful to the fact that every time that we come back to Australia, you guys jump on board. And I want to reaffirm that going back to Canada, my mission here with our team is to impact 1 million lives. And I am committing and doubling down on this to try to keep this the best, most connected program on the market. If you are struggling and you are in our community, please don't struggle. Please don't struggle by yourself alone. Please reach out. Yes, we're busy. We're all busy. There's not a person alive that doesn't consider themselves busy. But whilst you're part of our family, we're here to try to help as much as possible, because at the end of the day, it's equally rewarding. You're not a burden. You're not a pain. You're part of our family, and you look after your family. Guys, this has been the Better Body Academy podcast. I'll see you in the next episode. Okay, team. Sometimes there's an old phrase, and we're sticking around for anyone that wants to chat. There's an old phrase which is, sometimes we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. Sometimes we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. I think a lot of the times we're insatiable about going and accumulating more information. And that's good. That's learning, right? But sometimes we just need to be reminded that, you know what? It's the simplest things that move the needle the most. If you can stay connected to your community, to your process, it is going to keep you on course. But the moment you start to drift off by yourself and that's when it becomes really, really hard, because you've got no leverage. Guys, are there any comments around this podcast? Any feelings? I'm just going to go back over a couple of the things that were said here. Eden, 100%. I did. So much energy off the back of it. I'm going to put this out there as like a little bit of bait. I just would love, and I know it's kind of hard. I would love next year at some point in time to be able to do a retreat in Bali. I think that I know Bali pretty damn well now, and the facilities that are available to manage cost, keep it as low as possible, but have an incredibly life-changing event where probably we combine men and women. Like, I just think it'd be so freaking good. It'd be so freaking good. To our friends in the UK, like, I've got an opportunity. Maybe we might be able to swing something. Maybe. I don't know. I'm getting a bit fucking emotional because I don't particularly want to leave this beautiful country. But at the same account, it's like the mission is for me far greater than just Yamina and the peninsula. It's like, can you imagine how many people around the world could benefit if they just got connected? One of my favorite things, probably the most favorite thing about what we do, is when a new guy or girl comes in, and you think about this because you were all there at one point in time. You were shit scared about posting your introduction. What am I going to write? What are people going to say? Like, what kind of photo do I want to choose? Do I want to be vulnerable or do I want to be honest? It's nerve-wracking, right? But then you did it. And you had 20 or 30 people say, welcome, man. Welcome, girl. You're here. Follow the plan. Stay. That is shit that does not happen. It does not happen in the real world because we're all too busy making judgments about each other, about trying to like have more money or be better. And it just gets to this point where it's like this, ugh, whereas they come into our community and we look after, we don't care if you're gay, straight, black, white, old, young, fat, skinny, it doesn't matter. What matters is you're here to grow. You're here to grow. You're here to feel connection again. And I guarantee you, you can have the best plan in the world, but if that plan doesn't involve you feeling connected, it's not going to work. A simple, loose plan where you're not perfect and where there's daily messy action where you're allowed to fuck up, but you got a strong sense of community and connection, that is the plan that will work 100% of the time. Anyway, team, I'm going to cut it there. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Hopefully you just got a little bit of a reminder here to stay connected and love that comment. If you don't stay connected, you float away like an island. Exactly. And that's not what we want. Stay connected to the process. Team, I'll see you on the other side. Wish me luck doing a 15-hour flight with 2 kids under 3. You know the worst bit? We leave at 8:30 at night and we get back at 5:30 at night in the afternoon. So what does that mean? They're going to sleep for half the flight, get off the plane, should be going to bed, and instead it's going to be party time at 1 o'clock in the morning. So you guys might see me doing a podcast at 1 o'clock in the morning, my time tomorrow, and just be like, what the fuck is this guy doing? It's because I'm wide awake with 2 kids that are wanting to party. Anyway, I do digress, guys. Peace out. Chat soon. Love you.